Welcome back. It's another episode here. We are continuing season 8 of Puzzle Rush. I started this puzzle before I ended the last episode here. And to be honest, I can't get it out of my head. Now, in real time, I've taken like 12 hours to do other things, spent some time with friends and things like that. But I have had this puzzle in the back of my head for the whole time here. I recorded the last episode in the morning, and it is now evening, almost dinner time. So I had said that I wanted to go queen, pawn, knight take, pawn take the rook, and that's just the classic kind of thing. But this is a 3100 level puzzle, so it has to be harder than that. And one thing I realized as soon as I walked away from this puzzle is I have this spare rook, in addition to a bishop, which I'll point out in a second here. But this rook follows the Phoenix principle of using the piece that is farthest away from the king. This knight controls a bunch of important squares around the king, whereas this rook does not. And so it is what I would consider the farthest away piece. So I actually thought, and I haven't calculated this, it just kind of came to me while I was eating lunch, actually, was check, pawn, and let's not do what we normally do and take with the knight here. Let's instead, and in fact, I guess I'll do this. Let's instead take with the rook because it is the farthest away piece. And when the pawn takes, queen can take, check. And this square is covered, these squares are covered, and so this is the only square left, in which case the king has to come here, and then the queen can go right here. In fact, let's make it yellow because that's our leading candidate. This forces the king to come to the dark square. And I thought, wow, wouldn't that be like a really powerful thing to do? But there's no finish there. So then I thought, what if we go queen, pawn, rook, pawn, queen, and the king comes here, and now we can actually win a queen. So the first thing that would happen would be the knight blocks, maybe, and then the bishop would take that. And when the bishop takes that, it's protected by the queen on G6. So right here. So I'm thinking that is probably the answer. And I think I'm going to go ahead and play the first move. It always makes me nervous playing the first move of an episode because if I get it wrong, that's just the end of the episode, right? So we're only 3 minutes into this, but I've been thinking about this for 12 hours now, and I don't have it all worked out, but it does seem like this is the right answer. So we are correct. And because this is a 3100 level puzzle, I don't think it's the knight, but more principledly, more principled-ish, principled-ishian. I think it's use the piece that's farthest away. So I do think we're going to take here. And if take, then we are going to take with the pawn check. This is forced, bishop check. And then this is forced. And then maybe we actually do have another like punch out. And it could be not bishop takes queen like you might be thinking, but it might actually be knight check. So I think I'm going to take with the rook. And that's correct. Now, I don't think I take the rook because why would I do that? I think I'm going to take here. Okay, either one was correct. Awesome. Okay, cool. So we have here, we're down a queen for a rook. And so let's actually see. We actually have 2 pieces for the queen. So we're not actually that far off from victory now. We just need to, like, if we pick up a knight or pick up the queen, it's an easy win from there. So what are we threatening for black? Check. King can go either of these 2 squares. That seems to be problematic. We can take bishop with check for black. So we're going to have to figure out something for white that wins a target. So here are the targets. These are all the undefended things. This pawn probably, I'm guessing, doesn't matter because it's just a single pawn. So we don't really need that. We are up 3 pawns, though. So if we trade off all the pieces, white wins. That's an important factor to know. We could go like this. This is a check, and this is a check. So we do want to look at checks. We actually, strangely, only have 1 capture, and it's right here on this pawn. So we have a check, and a capture right here. I'm going to take a moment in silence to kind of get my bearings and figure out any of those three moves. So be right back. Okay, I've been on pause for 2 minutes. I think that the most likely scenario is pawn up check, because if the king, there's only two legal moves, and that's knight takes pawn or king in the corner, which is a8. And so if king a8, we just promote the queen with immediate checkmate. In fact, we could promote a rook because this square is covered by the knight. So that one seems fairly obvious. So the fact that we push the pawn and knight takes it is automatic. Enforced, I think that that's a good candidate for the right move. Now, immediately I see a deflection sacrifice. It's checking off. It's check because there's only, again, two legal moves. And the only one that makes any sense is taking the bishop, in which case I take the knight. Check. And when that happens, there aren't very many other options here for what the king can do, except at that point probably go here, 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 or here. And so I think that basically if we go to the back rank, like g8, then we have knight takes pawn, and we've won 2 pawns. We've lost our own pawn, but we are getting really, really close to mate. So that feels like the correct answer so far. And the other thing to point out is when the bishop takes here, queen check is no longer a threat because the rook can take it. So we are at a 3,200 level puzzle, and I only need 4 more to break my own personal record. We have 2 strikes already, but we were able to get all of the 12. We're on a 13 correct answer streak. So I do want to take a little bit more time out of respect for the puzzle and the rush so far to figure out if I have it correct. So give me just a little bit more. So I'm a little bit confused here because if I go, the other contest was, okay, so pawn check, knight takes, bishop takes, king takes, and then we take the knight. But what if we just reverse the move orders? Check, and then king goes here, and I push, and basically the king cannot defend the queening square, so the knight has to take it, and the knight takes, and that's a transposition. That ends up in the same place by a different move order. So what's the difference? And I think it is after check, the king can actually go here. And 2 things have happened. My rook is under attack and my knight is under attack. So I think that probably leads us to confirm this conclusion. But here's what I don't understand is after check and then knight takes it and we check and take, the king can just go like here. And then we can check. And the reason we're checking there is because we're protected by the knight. And the king would then have to go back. But the problem is there's not really a good way to get out of checks from the black queen against the white king. So for instance, there's check here and the king can only go to 1 of 2 squares. And it can get checked either here or here. And if anything is ever on this square, for example, knight takes that pawn, then this is actually a fork. And we would be losing material and lose the game. So I'm not exactly sure how I'm supposed to get out of that, but I do think I have the correct first move, and I'm not quite sure where we're going from there. So I am ready to guess. And so we're going to see if this is my third X or if I'm going to get it. If you're alone in a room and it won't be too embarrassing, I'd like you to do a drum roll. Ready? 3, 2, 1. We got it right. Oh, scary. Scary. So I do think we are just going to go ahead and take that pawn. I don't think it's going to be rook takes because I don't see what this does exactly. Sacrificing a rook doesn't seem to do a whole lot, so I think we're going to take a pawn. Okay. Well, 58. That was my number 3 all-time. You can see it right there. This is my best run this week. The highest one we solved was a 31-15. We finally lost on a 31-81. 58 puzzles into this one. Average time per puzzle, 44 minutes. Yeah, that's because I just walked away from the screen for a while. I put it on pause and go eat lunch or something like that. So 44 minutes is incorrect. You're just leaving it on all night long, I guess, maybe. 58 puzzles is pretty good. It's not my record of 62. I really wanted to get 60. Let's take a look. Let's see what I could have done. We got the first move right, everybody. The first move was correct. Let's try it. Okay, we know that was correct. What is the answer? It can't be this, right? Yeah, I didn't think it was. So then what could it be? Is it some sort of pin? It is. And then we just discover check somehow. Where are we going? Here? No. I should probably think this through, right? But like, why? Because the run is over, so no. Yeah. Wow. Powerful. Powerful. Let's see what happens here. I guess the reason that I messed this up was I just failed to consider. Okay, this is a draw. Yeah, because this is what I saw, and then here, and then I would go rook c8, and then king here, and I just didn't see anything here. I obviously I saw this knight check, but if I saw that if he attacks my rook, I just go back, but that's actually hanging to the queen. But the idea is for me here is that the king can only attack the knight or attack the rook, but not both. So whichever piece he attacks, like for example here, I just go back. And then this check doesn't really do anything this time because I block it. And so now there's no checks here, there's no check here, and there's no check down the line. So I thought that was the right answer. Turns out it wasn't, because this is just simply a draw. At least I'm not losing, right? At least I played a good move that is not losing. So bishop f4 is the right answer. And the threat here, if like black just does nothing, does nothing like this, is what? Gonna be g6. That can't be right. Apparently, the whole time, everybody, the point of this was to promote a pawn. All right, that doesn't make any sense. Well, unfortunately, this run has come to an end. Only 2 puzzles into it, 58. I still liked it. I still had fun. I hope you had fun too. If you did have fun, please hit the like button. Please consider subscribing so you see more chess tactics content. I hope I've helped you out at least with something, and I'll see you for the next one.